Okay, so let's have a quick look at Tuthmoses II. Um, he ruled Egypt for 14 years, and there's always been debate around when he reigned and that sort of thing. But to give you a rough idea, it's 1493 BCE to 1479 BCE. That's why I tend to follow dynastical families than dates. Because remember what I said, that this is a developing science, the science of Egyptian archaeology, and there's always new data, and dates always move around with once new data has been researched and discovered. So you're always safe with dynastical families. It doesn't matter really here, there, exactly when and what. It's what they did during that 14-year reign. So remember, his father, Tuthmosis I, ruled Egypt for 13 years. He ruled Egypt for 14 years. He was married to his half-sister, Hatshepsut. Now, she's quite a formidable character, and she was the daughter of Queen Armosi and Tuthmosis I. So she saw herself as being true blue royal bloodline. Remember that. Whereas Tuthmosis II, he was the son of a lesser wife, but not the great wife Armosi herself. So he lacked status, which is probably why he was married to his half sister. The army generals campaigned back in Kush on his behalf. We don't know why he didn't lead the army himself. Some people say he was too young for the job, but he would have accompanied his father on his campaigns for sure. Maybe he was just a very cyclical person. We'll look at that very soon. There were also campaigns in Levant, and there is a record that they crushed a Bedouin tribe. Those tribes that came down from the hills were always troublesome, attacking trade caravans. Of course, trade caravans means that you get a disturbance of trade routes and loss of revenues. And that's what the Egyptians are interested in, keeping everything running smooth up and down the River Nile, into the Mediterranean, out into Canaan, Levant, and beyond those borders. That's what they want. It's not clear as to which tomb he was buried in, because his body was found in the 1881 cache at Dela Bakri. So remember, I told you there's 60 odd tombs in the Eastern Valley which are unknown. They contain no names or pictures, and that is probably because of all those floods of the debris scraping off the pictures off the walls. So we're not going to know for sure which tomb he was buried in. Now, in 1886, a French archaeologist examined his body from the Dela Bakri cache and found that he was suffering with disease and scars and hair loss, and that he lacked vigor and muscular power. So maybe he was suffering with some kind of deforming disease, and maybe that's why he didn't lead the army. This person, this French Egyptologist, was Gaston Maspero, and we're going to have a look at him right now. So remember, I mentioned Sir William Matthews, Flanders Petrie, Laurier, etc. Well, Sir Gaston Camille Charles Maspero is one of those early pioneers of Egyptian archaeology. He was a French Egyptologist, born in 1916. In 1880, he became the Director General of Excavations and Antiquities of Egypt. His focus was on the Saqqara tombs and the hieroglyphic script. He had over 4,000 lines of hieroglyphic script recorded and translated. Wow, that's a big job. Believe you me, having it recorded where you have someone going in creating facsimiles of the text, Then they have to be sent off to a museum where a scholar will go over them and then start a transliteration and then a translation into French, English, German, etc. Big job, a big job. He oversaw the 1881 discovery at the De la Bacquerie. Now, it wasn't a discovery, it was a robbery. There were three brothers in Luxor called the Rasool brothers, and they found the cash by accident and started looting it. When the antiquities hit the market, the police became involved and they were discovered. And Gaston Maspero was accused of torturing them to get the information as to where these royal mummies were. He left Egypt in 1886 and returned to Paris as a professor of Egyptian archaeology. He returned to Egypt in 1899, and there was an earthquake at Karnak, at Wasset, modern day Luxor. Sorry, I get used to the ancient terms. And unfortunately, the hypostyle hall, started by Amenhotep III, continued by Seti I, and finished by Ramesses II, collapsed. So he oversaw the restoration of the hypostyle hall, and during that restoration they found a cache of statues under the floor. Now, what had happened in Karnak is, in the latter part of its history, it got cluttered up with lots of gifts from nobles and powerful men who needed the favour of Amun-Ra, and some 17,000 statues were buried under that floor. That's what they found in the cache, and each one had to be taken out, restored and stored and recorded. Big job, a big job. Wow, wow. He retired to France in 1914 and died 2 years later. And it's quite funny that Egyptologists who work in Egypt a long time, as soon as they leave Egypt and they go back to their country of origin, they don't tend to live very long, except me, of course. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this bit of information about Tuthmoses I and Gaston, Camille, Charles, Maspero. What a name that is. Beautiful, isn't it? Just rolls off your tongue. Born in France, apparently his parents are of Italian origin. Okay, and he left a great record for us to study his research, his primary data. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please press your subscribe button, and I'll be back very soon with the next installment of Ancient Egypt. Bye for now.